Hi guys, this is Colin and welcome back to the channel. Today is a typical Swedish Sunday with dark skies, rain and lots of wind. So I'm just hunkered down by my computer with my big cup of coffee, and I thought I'd bring you a clip of the Tier 5 Russian Murmansk. I am a real big fan of all the Russian ships that made it to the game so far. They are truly powerful ships with not so many weaknesses, and the Tier 5 premium cruiser Murmansk is no exception. So, what are the strengths of the Russian ships? Well, they have great shell arcs. They have railgun arcs, pretty much. Fast traveling shells and great accuracy. And of course, they have good range as well, which makes them exceptionally good at engaging targets at long ranges. This cruiser as well has the spotting plane, as you can see me using here, which is a great way of inflicting damage upon battleships early in the game, just as I'm doing here right now. You can pretty much shoot over most of the islands and start fires on battleships before they can even see you. And well, they are kind of sneaky ships.
Uzbekistanian. I've been dealing with those sneaky Russian dogs. Give me a name.
Oh no, Boris. Boris the Blade?
Yeah.
As in Boris the Bullet Dodger?
Why do they call him the Bullet Dodger?
Because he dodges bullets heavy.
Yeah, so those sneaky fucking Russians, and especially the Murmansk, are great bullet dodgers as well. And why Murmansk especially? Well, the Murmansk has guns all over both sides of the ship, which makes it able to pretty much maneuver any way you want and still have a full broadside to engage the enemy with. So the battleships or the enemy cruisers that are following you can't really anticipate which way you're gonna maneuver with your ship. Ordinary cruisers that only has like 3 turrets, the enemy ships can pretty much predict the way you're gonna maneuver, because you want to turn your ship so you can have your guns pointing at the enemy and shoot them. But with the Murmansk you can sail however you want and still be able to engage enemy ships. So it's a really great bullet dodger and a really strong fire starter as well. And what makes the Russians so sneaky is that if you come across a captain that knows how to play Russian ships, you will pretty much see him turning around, running away, and of course that could make you think that he's scared of you and you have a big advantage on him. So you will start chasing him because you think you will kill him. But that's the thing. He just wants you to follow him. He wants you to think that you have the advantage and he's scared of you. But he's just duking you into a trap. And that's the sneaky side of the Russian ships. Because if you start to chasing him in a battleship or a cruiser or even a destroyer, he will just sail away from you, maneuvering, making him really hard to hit, while he will constantly hit you with his fast arcs and accurate guns. And he will pretty much just work you down, burn you down, shooting off torps that you need to dodge, shooting constantly at your ship, making you just burn and lose health until he kills you. As you can see here, I have just pretty much started to fall back. I pretty much held this flank myself against these two battleships and enemy destroyer. And while my friendly battleship and friendly cruiser died off at the start, I have not yet taken any damage. And I'm pretty much the only enemy that these guys see. And I'm just dodging and shooting back at them, starting fires. Now, I was a little bit concerned when I saw these bombers showing up, because that's really one of the big disadvantages in the Murmansk. It has really pitiful, and I mean pitiful, AA. I mean, it's pretty much just a drunken sailor on deck with a submachine gun. That's my AA basically. So don't expect shooting down so many planes, and don't expect to dodge so many bombers and attacks from CVs. Now this Minikaze really fucks up, because he thinks that he can take on a Murmansk, which was his biggest mistake ever. I mean, I played a lot of DDs. I know what to expect from destroyers. I know how they think. I know where they're gonna torp. So it's just easy for me to dodge his pitiful attempts of torping me and just punish him. Breaking stealth, pretty much. And he has, well, he has not a chance of survival. So I wouldn't ever recommend a destroyer ever trying to take on a Murmansk, because the Murmansk is pretty much built to kill and hunt destroyers. We have acoustic search, and we have great fire rate. And he's dead. So now I have two enemy battleships and enemy Clemson following me, and while this is happening, the rest of my fleet is pretty much pushing the west flank, but we still have a disadvantage in ships, apps and points. But I'm pretty much keeping the enemies on this flank occupied with me, and they still haven't really hurt me anything, so just giving that Minikaze captain a bit of a tip for the future. And as you can see, it's pretty much just me that have engaged in this Congo, and he is below half health. Now this Clemson thinks he should make the same mistake that the Minikaze did. Fortunately for him, he had the opportunities to smoke up and disappear. Otherwise, I would have pretty much killed him as well. So, never go charging into a Murmansk in a destroyer. It's pretty much just suicide. Now the guy in chat talks, I think he talks to me, I'm not really sure, but he says if I would fight Cleveland, it would end terribly. but I would never have a problem to go one-on-one with a Cleveland in the Murmansk, because it's basically the same thing. I mean, all youth's ships has the same disadvantage, it's those ridiculous gun arcs. So if I would go one-on-one with a Cleveland in my Murmansk, I would just pretty much just bait him as well. Just sail away from him and engage him from range, where I will have the great advantage with my range and my rate of fire and my gun arcs, and he will have a real hard time hitting me with his slow arcs. And I would pretty much just burn him down as well, so I would never be scared of taking on a Cleveland in the Murmansk, because I think even though the Murmansk is a tier 5 and the Cleveland is a tier 6, I would have no problem killing him off as well. The only thing you should think about is that the Cleveland has really good powerful AP, so never get close to the Cleveland and never show him your broadside, because if he citadels you, you're pretty much gone, because the Murmansk has really crappy armor, so you can get citadel very easily.
Torpedo to starboard.
Now this Yubari thought it was a good idea as well, just to charge into me, which I pretty much showed him that that wasn't so. And that's pretty much the thing you have to learn with this game, is what are the good fights and what are the crappy fights, and never choose the crappy ones. Unless you have a big advantage, maybe you have a couple of teammates sailing with you, then you can hang back a little bit and make them tank damage for you while you get shots and damage into the enemy. But never choose a bad fight. It's better to run away than fight badly, as a Swedish saying goes. I thought I'd be able to kill off this Yogi, and I'm not usually a big fan of the spotter plane. I think it's really hard to get any good hits on target with the spotter plane, and I usually never use it on other ships, but on the Murmansk it's actually pretty good, just to pick off those targets trying to run away, especially in the end of the game when you're engaging carriers. It's very good to get that extended range and just hunt them down and burn down the carriers. So I'm just trying to find the right lead and the right angle, which is the biggest issue. But the carrier on our team finally gets the kill. Now this Murmansk, I think it's a good idea to charge into me as well, after his two battleship buddies has pretty much died on this flank, and he has no protection, no one scouting for him, so I shoot off my torps because I'm predicting that he will sail in a straight line. Why shouldn't he? He's a battleship. And of course I start some fires on him, and he uses his repair fire, which tells me that he is probably not that experienced. So I'm engaging with my guns and then just wait for him to sail right into my torps. And I go ahead a bit because I don't want to give him any chance of shooting back at me, because I'm a sneaky Russian. So I get a torp hit and the Confederate, which is always nice. Now if this torp would have started a flood on him, he would be dead, because he used his repair, so he would just flood out and die. But fortunately for him, my torpedo hit his belt armor, which is the midsection of the ship that is extra armored for just torpedo attacks. and he didn't get a flood, so he got to live a little bit longer. So I'm just turning around to get my second set of torps on him, and now I start engage him with my guns, just starting fires on him. And he did minimal damage to me because I'm maneuver. And now I'm just sailing away from him again, maneuvering, which makes it really hard for him to hit me, but really easy for me to hit him. So he's just dead. He just doesn't know it yet. See, my torps are on target, but I think my fires will kill him off before. I think I have 3 fires raging on him right now, or maybe 2. And there he dies. So it's not a problem in a Murmansk to engage in 1 or 2 battleships, or even 1 or 2 battleships and a destroyer, just as long as you know what you're doing. I wouldn't recommend you going against 2 battleships and a cruiser, because the cruiser is pretty much a bigger threat to you than the 2 battleships are, because the cruiser also has good maneuverability, high rate of fire, and if it's a Russian, it has also great arcs, which makes him more of a problem than those battleships will ever be. So it's just maneuvering, keeping the range to the enemy ships, and just dodge bullets and burn them down pretty much. Now I'm telling the enemy team, that I think they fought really well, and this was really a close match. I mean, the majority of the game they had a great advantage on us, and we really were able to turn it around in the end, which is really nice. So I did some decent credits, some decent experience, and I just wanna show this clip as an example of a very good, strong, useful tactic in the Russian cruisers and also destroyers. So if you ever see a Russian turning around, running away, well, think again. I hope you enjoyed the clip. Leave a like and a comment. Hit that subscribe button.